Howdy, and welcome to the Veritable Edge. Let me show you where we're at here. This is the Jade Node. I made it here 4 days ago. Wow. And on wings of angels. And I'll try to show you the actual node itself, which is basically from over here, let's see, from over there to the berm and back around to about here. I know this because for the first time in my life, I used a pair of dowsing rods to define the space. And what is here, there are two 30 pace wide sun-sourced ley lines that cross here. And running through the middle of it all is a 50 pace wide what's known as an emperor dragon line that's comes from it's sourced from a galactic core in our galactic neighborhood. And if you want to know more about that, check out the Facebook post I put up last week called The Big Reveal. It explains all the ins and outs of this and why I'm here. And so it's almost exactly 3 months since a diagnosis, and I finally made it to the mountaintop. This is literally the part of the story where the hero goes into the wilderness and sits on top of a mountain. This happens to be exactly where I've sat for the past couple of days. I actually had my tent set up right there, and then I spent the night out of the tent right in the middle of the node. The purpose of that was to just see what would happen. The reason why I came is because at 4 times of the year, just before the solstices and equinoxes, all the ley lines on the planet, no matter how wide they are, they all begin to resonate at the same frequency. And so we call that period the period of resonance. And you might wonder, well, what's that like? Well, that's why I came to find out, to actually be on a node when that occurred. But it leads up to, on the actual solstice or equinox, an energetic structure being created that is like two donuts sitting one on top of the other. What's known as a double tube torus. And basically it's a vortex of energy, of subtle energy, that is said to be very conducive to meditation and prayer and receiving guidance and communing with the higher realms, so the subtler realms. In fact, this particular node, because of the 50 pace wide line running through it, is supposed to have the power to enable one to reach the highest realms. Not that you can't reach the highest realms yourself anytime you so wish, because you're an infinite and immortal being, as we all remember, right? So, hand getting tired. Oh, that's better. So last night a storm came in, and it started coming in the day before, and it was so windy. So you can see this magnificent tree behind me, oak tree. Let's take a walk over there so you can get a better sense of how big this is. Because it just doesn't look like much from a distance, right? You just think, oh, there's a tree, what the heck, you know? But I posted a video the other day of me hugging one of these trees, and I kind of get lost in it, as you'll see. Here we go. We'll walk up to it. This is my friend. My friend. So, yeah. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It's blessed. So imagine, I don't know how fast the wind was going. Say it's 25 miles an hour winds go blowing through this thing. It sounds like, I don't know, man. It sounds like a train coming through. And so that's what I've been listening to for the past 2 days. Is the wind coming through these trees. And now the wind is quieted for a time. So, it's December 22nd, and I spent all day yesterday sitting in the node, and with the wind blowing and me freezing, and but I just wanted to sit there and receive whatever there was for me to receive in terms of guidance. And finally, I mean, the wind is howling. I have two sleeping bags, one inside the other, and a mat underneath me, thankfully, because the ground's kind of rocky. And there's I have a tarp wrapped around me like a burrito, and right down here at the bottom of the hill, and the wind is blowing, and the wind is blowing, and the wind is blowing, and finally I settle my mind and my heart, and this is my spot right here. And I practiced a creative visualization meditation for, I learned it initially to access the Akashic record, but you can go beyond the Akashic record if you want. And so I envisioned myself leaving my body and going straight up into the heavens and being able to see back down on the earth and see California and the United States at night, and picture, the sun had already set, so I could see the sun on the other side of the earth, and I knew where the moon was. The moon was on the other side of the earth because it was last quarter. And I just turned around, and I knew where all the planets are, because I'm one of those quirky astrologer types. And I knew that the sun was conjunct Jupiter, and the galactic center, which is, one of the reasons why everybody's feeling very kind right now with one another and very open-hearted. And I knew that Venus was conjunct Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and I could see all that. And then I went up into this creative visualization and eventually into the Akashic record. And as soon as I got into this space, there's an altar and a book and a mirror, and you can ask questions or whatever. There was this, I envisioned the presence of this mythical creature, Pegasus, the one who brings us to journey into the higher realms, right? And we've played together before on these visualizations, and so I just climbed on and we went up, and I knew that we were where I had been up to that point was in the astral plane. And I knew that because we've gone to this other place before, and I knew, and what came to me was that I was going into the causal plane. And so we went into the causal plane, and it's just all this, it's hard to describe. But one of the things that I've learned that came to me when I was here was, see, that tree over there, we're only seeing half of it. The other half is just as ornate and intricate. And basically everything that exists in the physical universe is a standing wave of energy. And that's a standing wave of energy for what came to me one of the first things that came to me when I got up here, when I was looking at these trees, is like, that's kind of the universal form, except it's a standing wave. So imagine if that is constantly moving, and over time it is. I mean, if I put this camera on that for days, weeks, months, or whatever, you would just see a blur eventually of this entity in this space, just moving around and moving around. And that's the universal form. I mean, there's a picture. They charted all the galaxies, all the known galaxies, and they found the form that all of that makes. And computer modeled it, and it looks like that. It looks like this flowing, not amoeba, more like a starfish, but with more than just 5 arms to it, and constantly moving. And it occurred to me that that's basically us when we're not in this, when we're not in this physical body and whatnot. So anyway, that's the realm that I've been journeying around in. Okay, so Pegasus takes me up, and eventually we go higher and higher and higher, if you can, reference direction. And eventually I go beyond the realms of density and to the place where, when I was here, when I first discovered the archaeological site, which you can't see right now because it's in the fog over there. But if you check my Facebook page over the next couple of days, when I get out of here, I'll be posting photographs and videos and all that sort of stuff. And of course, some of this stuff will end up in the book that I'm finishing on this whole story. The sequel to the Emergence Beyond 2012 movie and book, called The Natural History of Life and Death. And the sequel. And it's basically going to chronicle all the things that have happened, all the information that's come about this site and how it relates to all these other sites, and the story of the Hopi and the ancestors of the Hopi, the people that built this place. And while here, I've come to an understanding, a couple of realizations about that have totally expanded my perception of what this place was. Just sitting here, it all kind of came to me what's going on here, and so I'll be sharing that in the book, because I don't know if there's enough video. I'm looking forward to, one of my plans for the new year, one of the things that came to me in my meditations here, is to set up a live streaming channel where I can be live streaming all of my work, all of my content that I've been generating over the past 20 years, and doing live streams and whatnot. And so I will have time to just like talk and explain all this stuff when I get back to LA. Not sure when that's going to be exactly, but made tentative plans. Not really tentative. I'm actually going up to see my sister. We're going to get together for Christmas, and her daughter, Crystal. And so probably I won't be able to upload this until I hit civilization. So I'll be on my way there when you see this. Let's see. So I've kind of come to a point of feeling like I have a general decoding of this site, and have an idea of what's happened here, and which is kind of exciting. Right, so in the creative visualization meditation that I did right here yesterday, I went beyond the realms of density. And when I was here before, when I discovered this place in 1994, I was going through what at the time I called it a spiritual acceleration, because I literally felt my spirit accelerating. And imagine what that must have been like, this, where you just feel like, the pedals to the metal and you're just zooming ahead. And it was very exhilarating and very euphoric, but it was only the beginning. And it was 94, so however many years ago that was. And when I was here before, one of the experiences I had was in my deepest meditation, I actually heard the celestial choir, chorus. I heard like this of just too many voices to count, and in my meditation, I had a vision of this of every soul on earth, an aspect of them there in the presence of the One. And I knew from then on that everybody that I meet in this world, there's an aspect of them that is in that place, and in sheer perfection, right? So yesterday, in my creative visualization, I went back to that place, And I met myself and we had a conversation. And I'll be I'll be sharing a lot of what came through that. Okay, here it is. I'm writing another book, and it's called The Metaphysician, kind of along the lines of the metaphysician, heal thyself, and which is kind of what I'm about right now. But I'll be sharing a lot of what came through in that book. I think I'm going to publish it as a book of poetry, even though it's a story, because what the heck, why not? Yeah. So it's been a really fruitful time for me. Oh yeah, one of the coolest things is, so it was, the wind was blowing like crazy. I got into my meditation and I noticed that the wind stopped around me. I mean, like the tree was still going off behind me, but right around me it was quiet for the whole time that I was in the higher realms, for the whole time I was in the meditation. And then when I came back, you know, the wind, I knew that I'd scouted out a spot down in the woods over there because I knew that there was a chance that there was going to be a storm coming through with rain and whatnot, and there's no way it'd be stupid to sit out here in the middle of this. So I went and I picked up all my stuff and relocated, and sure enough, you know, the rain came in and it was like the perfect, and that was the meditation was just the beginning of my ritual. You know, I went into the tent and I'm sitting in the woods in the dark in continuing the meditation, you know, and all this information is coming. I had this incredible experience. I set up the tent, and you know those situations where you know that thing that happens when you stand up really quick and then your vision closes down and you can see like a really bright donut, right? So that happened. But in the center of the donut, it turns out that there's a boat down in the ocean over there, and it had a light on. And so in the middle, imagine in the middle of the donut is this light, and the donut itself went through all of these colors. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and it felt like it was, you know, just affirming. You know, I didn't feel dizzy or anything like that. I just felt like, wow, this is amazing. And I just stood there and I watched the colors change, and I don't know, for a couple of minutes there. It was really wonderful. And then I went into the tent, and you know, I broke my fast because I'd been fasting all day yesterday, and had some vegetables. Yeah, vegetables. Gonna have some vegetables tonight. I saved 2 packets of vegetables, and yes, very exciting. It's so funny. I am the best provisioned I've ever been going into the wilderness, and I've hardly eaten any of the stuff I brought here, just because I'm not really eating that much for some reason. And but I feel healthy. I feel really good. So, you know, go with what you know. So yeah, I sat in the tent and I went deeper into the darkness, you know, deeper into the, you know, I felt nurtured, you know. I felt like I was in the bosom of the universe, and that, you know, the universe had me where it wanted me and was showing me what it needed me to know. And you know, the fruit of having made the journey and shown up, you know. So, and it's I will. One of the things that came out of that meditation last night was this, and I want you to know this. This is, from here on, the rest of my life is going to be fun, and it's going to be epic, and I am really going to enjoy it every minute. I felt that. I said that. It came to me, and I said it out loud, and I just started laughing, actually, because I know it's true. There's so many really good things that I have, that I'm doing, and I'm excited to be doing, projects I'm excited to be working on and completing and sharing with y'all, and so I brought, I have my iPad, and I was listening. If you get a chance, I'd really appreciate it if you would give a listen to the album that I published in February called The 12 Journeys Underneath, because especially the first three, there's, Journeys Underneath, the second movement and the third movement. That whole piece right there, do yourself a favor and listen to that. This music was designed to be music you could trip to without doing drugs. And but if you're going to do drugs, you might as well listen to this, because it'll help you, guide you into whatever it is you need to know. And and I have to tell you, whether you're on drugs or off drugs, it works. It's I say drugs. I know there's all these people that are like, marijuana isn't a drug, it's an herb. I get you. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or be political about it or anything like that. The 12 Journeys Underneath. And then, if that works for you, try especially the last three. The last three are the etheric plane, the astral plane, and the causal plane. And I have a theory that when I was creating them, I was actually playing on those planes, because the music is, if it doesn't change you, I don't know. You must, yeah, I don't know. It's amazing. It's just amazing. But I'm partial. I admit it. I'm not pretending to be impartial. Okay. What else did I want to say? I feel healthy. I feel like I'm gonna be here a while, be around on Earth for a while. But there could be a lightning strike any minute, and that wouldn't be a bad thing. So we'll see. Maybe it's time for a headstand. Why? Because we can. Let's see if we can do this. Yes. That'll change your life. Oh. This is my favorite part again. This is me beaming love at you. So there, take that. And remember, I love you.